There's no such thing as sight reading. And this is for the saxophone players. There is no good way to place a saxophone on the floor or on the ground. No good way to do it. Whenever possible, use a stand or place your horn back in the case. But if you're in the situation where you're going to have to set your horn down, well, you got a couple options. Neither one of them are very good. So the first option is to place the horn on the ground, bell side down, so the keys are facing up. The problem with this is it's going to put pressure on your palm D key, which has potential to damage that key. However, this key is a very short lever, so it's pretty strong. It's difficult to bend that key. Usually when I see bent palm keys, it's usually caused by kids picking their horns up by the keys and squeezing them together, and usually the damage is mostly on the palm key F, not on the D. And in regard to the pad, all it's going to do is open that pad, so it doesn't really put any extra pressure on the pad. If the pad does happen to be damaged that way, it's a cheap fix. It's an independent mechanism. It doesn't affect any of the other notes or keys on the horn, so it's a pretty easy fix. There's also potential, depending on the horn, for the spatula keys to slightly come in contact with the ground, which could cause some lost motion in your spatula keys. However, if you're placing the horn on the ground bell side down, if you just place something as small as a box of reeds underneath the tenon, it will create enough clearance that that none of those keys are even going to be coming in contact, so you're going to be pretty safe. Now your next option is to place the horn key side down. And if you do this, it puts pressure and risks potential damage to the posts here and here and here. Now, damaged posts is a pretty big problem. That's a pretty big repair. Typically, when the posts bend, they actually puncture, depress into the body of the horn. And one of the first things you see, lots of times I see kids come in and when they press their E-flat key, the E-flat key sticks open. That's because when this post bends, it extends the key farther across the tone hole, and when the key lifts, it comes in contact with the back of this key guard, and that contact holds the key open. Of course, that'll cause a leak on the E-flat and the C. They're both connected to the same post, but the bigger problem that I see is lots of people don't realize that on most horns, the bell is just glued on under this seam here. And so when you put pressure on this post that's attached to the bell portion, in combination with this post, which is attached to the body tube portion, the bell will turn. This is why lots of times you'll see horns where the bell keys, when you press the key, the pad stays open in the front and it's hitting in the back. That's because when the bell turns, it moves the front of the tone hole farther away and lifts the back of the tone hole, so the key's hitting hard in the back. And because the keys are attached to the body tube portion of the horn, the keys stay in place. So to repair this, you're going to have to strip the horn, you're going to have to remove the bell, unsolder the posts, burnish out the body tube from the inside so that you can reposition those posts, and then refit the bell. You're going to have to refit all of the keys. Also, because the bell keys are in a complex mechanism with some of the keys upper in the horn, like the G sharp key, for example, there's potential damage up there as well. You're going to have to replace all the pads because once you adjust the fitting of the keys, that can cause cross seating, which is going to cause leaks. And so it turns out to be a pretty big and expensive job. And I see these things every single week. So don't put your horn on the ground unless you absolutely have to. And if you have to, use a cheap horn. But those are your choices. You guys make up your mind. My name's Mark Dooley. I've been a private music teacher for 36 years, focused on practical theory and music literacy. If you'd like to hear more, follow me. If you'd like lessons, contact me. If you can learn how to read words, you can learn how to read music.